Hi, my name is Mayra Grajales, and this is my Bichon Archer. He's a 6-month-old puppy. I keep him in a breed trim, so I'm going to show you how I do that now. So I'm going to really quickly just touch his prep, his sanitary and stuff. I'm going to do a 10 on the sanitary. He does get maintained weekly, so there isn't really much to take off. And I've been doing him weekly since I got him, so he is very used to it, but at the same time, he is very much a young puppy. So he might not always behave perfectly. Good boy. And then because he is an intact boy, we leave hair on the tip of his penis just so he has a place to follow and not stain his front legs too terribly. Okay. I'm just going to quickly do his paw pads. Again, he does get done weekly, so he doesn't have much there. Good boy. And then one of the things I am going to do on him, because he has a really nice chest and nice deep chest, and I don't need all that hair, I am going to use a guard comb for those sections. And I'm going to use a 2 guard comb. And this is just going to help me quickly take off hair without having to worry about scissoring it. And I'm just taking it off of his chest. And I might actually be able to do it a little shorter in the future when he gets older. And then I'm going to go his whole chest up until his Adam's apple pretty much. The dog doesn't have too much hair. You can leave it, but I can take him pretty nice and tight with this too. And that's just going to save me some time on scissoring and trimming. And I'm also going to do that too right here on his angulation. I'm going to take it right there. That way I just know I'm getting him nice and tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and round off his feet, which is where I like to start. Again, he is a puppy, so he is going to move around and want to kind of dance around and just see what he can get away with. He doesn't have terribly too much hair to cut off, just because he was done, let's say a little bit over. He had a bath and tidy about a week ago, because that's what we do every week. It's a bath and tidy. Helps get him used to the process and get him ready for, hopefully, grooming competitions in the future. Good boy. This is just something I really like to do with all the dogs. I like to just round off their 4 feet really quickly. That way, I kind of know I've already done it and have my starting point for all of them. Good boy. I'm gonna start setting his rear legs. Now with the Bichon, they do have like a U shape here. You kind of want to be able to see that U shape in their rear end. So just mindful of that when you're scissoring that in. Stay. Let's use the chunkers so I can get that shape in. Stay. And if you've ever groomed a wiggly puppy, it feels like they've got nerves on the end of their hair, where you're just scissoring them and they're moving around and being jumpy. Good boy. Just reinforce when they're behaving and reposition when you need to. I'm just using chunkers, so it's a little bit easier right now for me. If he moves, they're a little bit more forgiving than the straights. It's okay. Stay. Good boy. So I was just shaping that line. You can kind of see that U shape on that rear end. You can see that there real quick. I'm going to scissor the inside of his legs. Probably haven't done a full haircut on him in about 3 weeks. Good boy. Scissoring on the inside, those parallel lines. Stay. He'd much rather go play right now. He's like, I'm done for the day. Good boy. Just gonna scissor in the rest of this back leg. I'm gonna clean up this angulation here. Stay. And since the 2-guard comb set the length for me, I can set the shape and take it a little bit tighter. I still have a little bit of hair to play with. Shh, shh, shh. Excuse me. And I am letting his legs grow out a little bit more. So I'm just going to do a light trim on them. I do want his legs a little bit fuller. Are you going to look that way? I'm going to have to walk around him because he's good in that position. Stay. Good boy. Stay. You can see here I'm missing some hair, so I gotta let that grow. Just kind of treat it like if that hair was there. Shh, shh. Good boy. Good boy. And here, again, I'm going to clean off this side to match the other side. They shouldn't look like a poodle. They should have some roundness to them, but you still want to show off some angulation. He's like, I want to go play. Good boy. Kisses? Yes, good boy. I'm just taking this nice and tight on the back of the thigh there and angling it out so he's got his angulation pretty much set. Good boy. Okay, so for today I'm pretty happy with that. The front legs are just column legs. So sometimes I got to look at it and see, like, hey, what am I going to tackle first? Do I want to do those front legs first, or do I want to do the body and then tie the legs in? And I think I'm going to start with his body and then just tie the legs in afterwards to make sure I'm not taking too much off those legs. Yeah, and everyone does it a little differently. This is just how I'm going to do it for today. Feels right for him. Stay. Stay. So I'm pretty happy with his length, so I'm just going to clean up his shape. Excuse me. Good boy. Just going to clean this up a little bit. Now I did the side of the neck. I'm not touching anything of the crest because I'm not touching that until I do the head. Shh. Hey, excuse me. Good boy. Just taking a little bit off, getting an idea for how he looks. I did take that chest nice and tight with that too. Just clean up where that ties in. Good boy. Just mindful, like if their head's looking one way, it's gonna change how their rib cage is. So you wanna fix them. Good boy. Stay. And you know, 6-month-old puppy can be a big ask to have them just stand around for a while. But he's doing pretty good. Just do a light tidy up of this front. Stand up. Good boy. It's nice and tight, so I'm just gonna tidy it up real quick. And you know, he's very young, so I'm not trying to do like the perfect groom, the watching every single little line. I'm just trying to get him used to the process of being scissored and being on the table for extended periods of time. Sometimes his training is just him standing on the table or sitting at the table for 10 minutes calmly while I get to him. So he's used to all that when the day comes that he's at a show or a competition. He'll be relaxed about it. So the things I might prioritize on him as a puppy groom might not be the same things I prioritize, you know, on a full-grown adult trim. I know. You just want to look this way. Good boy. So again, I'm kind of letting his front legs grow out so that they're a little bit bigger. They're probably where they need to be. I still need to trim them, obviously. I'm just not going to take too much off. Hey. Hey, okay. Be good. No. So we're just going to work with him. He's distracted. He wants to do other things. We're just going to reinforce, keep putting him back, letting him know that, okay, you can move, but I'm going to keep working. Shh. Stand. No. Stay. Good boy. And so right now, because he is being so wiggly, I'm just trying to tidy up these edges. Stay. Good boy. You see, I'm just taking the edges off. Just smoothing out those cone legs. Good boy. Just telling him when he's doing it okay and correcting him when he's not, so he learns. Some days he's perfect on the table, and some days he has other things in mind. Good boy. Picking one leg up doesn't work, try the other one. Keep figuring out what's going to work on this given day with this given dog. They're not always going to be act the same or behave the same. Things change. I think he's starting to come together. Good boy. I know. You're ticklish. You just want to go play. I'm kind of lifting up his back end to try to force him to stand on his front so I can scissor. Of course. I'm just trying different techniques that usually work to get him to stay how I need him to so I can finish that trim up real quick. And the quicker, especially when they're being really wiggly, the quicker you can get that trim done, the better. If you're working on a client's dog, I've told my clients, hey, they were extra wiggly today, so we got done what we could. Not necessarily what we wanted to. And owners understand that very well when you tell them. Good boy. Good boy. Stay that way. I'm going to do a light trim on the top line. It's kind of tidied up. Because again, today he's very wiggly. And this is why we would use chunkers or thinners on the coat. When they're moving too much, you do not want to take straights to a dog moving this much. You leave holes everywhere. I'm going to try the curved chunkers real quick because I think they'll help me get this top line set in a little quicker. So I'm just using them to tie in this top line from the ribs really quickly. Just because we have a wiggly puppy. Okay. So for how he's being today, I'm pretty pleased with how that's coming out. Stay. And of course, you can take advantage of little subtle moments that they're still to nitpick a little bit and just tweak some things. And then I'm stopping on this top line just well before the withers, because eventually that's where this neck hair will tie into. So I don't want to cut into it just yet. So you can see I stopped just about just before the withers, so I can let this grow out and blend it. Let's see if we can do his face. And just make sure everything's nice and combed out. And then, of course, he's a 6-month-old puppy, so everything is kind of floppy. This is definitely not a mature coat. So we're working with what he's got. Trim his little eye corners. And then if he'll let me, I'll just skim the eyes. And they'll close the eyes for you. And then he doesn't always like it, but I always try to do it to slowly get him used to it. And it's just a very light touch, what I'm doing, just to clean out those eye corners. And then I'll do his lips. Keep that nice and clean. I like to shave the lips. So I'll just pull the lip up, bring down whatever hair would stick in his mouth, and just gently trim that away. I'll trim up the flue also. Same thing on this side. I'll lift the lip up, bring this hair down, and all this hair would stick inside of the mouth and get disgusting and nasty. So I just do a really light trim on that. And then the flue where the canine sits, you just scoop that out lightly because that also can get yeasty and nasty. And that helps set the clipper work for the face. You wanna sit? Good boy. And I'm just gonna, I like to brush back some of the hair that's on the top of the muzzle, not all of it, but what would go into the eyes. And then I'll thin that out. No. Stay. I'm gonna thin it out back here, close to the eyes. I'm not trying to cut this hair short. I'm trying to just trim what's close to the eyes and what would go into the eyes. Stay. Good boy. So now you can see, like, if his hair were to come back, it's not gonna go into his eyes. And that's what I thin out. And I like to trim the eyes first. So I'm just going to brush forward a little bit of hair. I use my curves to cut just past the corner of the eye. And always mindful when they're moving. And kind of trim that in a U shape. I'm just going to bring this a little bit more forward. And then for me, that's one of the things I love to do is just open up those eyes first, especially if I'm working on a pet dog. I don't know if the owner's going to walk in. The shape of the head might not be perfect, but as long as those eyes are open, the owners are going to be happy because they can see their dog's face. So I trimmed really short up to about the Adam's apple. And I always trim out kind of like an inverted V or U here on the jaw to help keep that face tidy. So you want to brush all this back. I'm just going to clean up the jaw, not touching the ear. And that little inverted V, making sure it's short. Again, being mindful of his movements, especially when using a solid blade. And bring his ear forward so I can trim the jaw. I don't want to take this too short, but I do want to place it in the right spot. So I'm holding the ear forward. I'm just going to take that curve. You know what? Archer, chill. I'm going to do the curved chunkers real quick, just in case he does move. They're a little bit more forgiving. And do the same on this side. Here we can turn the head just so we can kind of get kind of tight into that spot. So right now with him, it's more about all the experience, getting him used to what we're doing, how we're doing it. And if I work on him every week, we'll eventually get to what we're trying to do. So again, I'm going to ignore the ears for now. I'm just going to do a quick round off. Light trim on him. We're not trying to take too much off on him. Good boy. And if their hair's super floppy, you can use volumizing spray, mousse, shampoos to help give some volume, but he is very much a baby. Stay. So now I'm just gonna check my lower end of his head, see what can round off. Again, I'm not touching those ears yet. Stay. And the reason you don't want to touch those ears right now is because right now they look like they're hanging lower. But when his head is up, you're going to see how high up the ears go. And then if you cut them when they're down here, when they come up here, you're going to have nothing left. So you have to be very mindful when trimming. I'm going to use the loop to help me just see where his ears are, because you want to prick the ears forward, like when they're in attention, when something's grabbed their attention, when you're trimming the head, because you want to blend those ears into the head. If you can see, he's got one ear that he still doesn't have like all the hair up there. I think it's like a cowlick on him, although you wouldn't see it on the curly hair. You can see it on how it's just not as dense. And so I'm just using the loop to kind of push his ears up for me. Hey, because I don't have big hands to hold his whole neck. And I'm just doing a really light trim, because he's little and he still needs to grow into this head of his. Same thing on this side. And then make sure that ear is pushed forward. And I'm right-handed, so the left side is hard for me, especially if he wants to fight and move on me. So I'm just gonna slowly go at it. You can always take more off. You can't put it back once you've taken it off. So it's best to go little by little. Hey. Of course, you can see the joys of doing a puppy when they want to go everywhere. And that's why you watch that ear. He just flicked it back. If I had been using a solid blade shear, that would have been a hole right there. And just keep checking. And then make sure everything you do that you're not cutting this hair, because then you'll end up with the ear very, very visible, and you want to blend it and hide it. So all you want to do is a light trim on that hair to stay. And then you want to make sure they still have their mustache, but you don't want it to be like super sharp peaks. So you just want to make sure you're looking at them from all angles and that they're soft and rounded. And I'm just going to take the very tips of that off. And I like to thin the hair right here, because a lot of dogs will have like this little point right here. And I'll just thin that right away. And it softens the look on them really quickly. Finish off the top of your head. Brush it all one way. Just dust off those tips. The other way. Again, just do like a really light trim. See what you look like. I'm gonna brush it back and just kind of look at that. I know. The silhouette. See if I can see. Hey. He's not happy, but he's got to get a haircut. Good boy. To tie this head in with this neck, since we've already done the top of the head. Stand up and look up. Of course, as an adult, he's going to have much more hair. As a puppy, he doesn't have all this hair yet. So, but usually you would just tip that head back and just smooth out, tie that hair in. So since he doesn't really have much going on, I'm just going to lightly tip it. Make sure I'm not taking any length off because all that's got to grow in. Stay. Let me see your face. Okay. I think that's as good as he's going to get for today. All things considered, I think he did pretty good. You want to see? Good boy. What do you think? Quick trim on a Bichon puppy.